Live, the news you count on. NBC2 News Today.
Well, thanks for waking up with NBC2 News Today. We have a lot of breaking news and big stories on this Tuesday morning. Thanks for counting on us to get your day started. I'm Lisa Spooner.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alan Campbell, and this morning, NBC2's Mercedes Martinez is local outside the Lee County Courthouse before we find out if a convicted killer will live or die.
And we'll tell you how one man is doing this morning after he was struck by lightning in Fort Myers. But before we get into all of that, we're going to send it over to NBC2 First Alert meteorologist Jason Dunning, who's tracking the tropics. And there's a new area, Jason, that you're watching in the Atlantic.
Yeah, and as we head into the peak weeks of the hurricane season, especially toward September, this is kind of what we expected, to see some of these tropical waves show a little more promise in developing. With that, I'll say that the odds of development are actually pretty low, but this is a new area that the National Hurricane Center is kind of highlighting right through here. Nothing very well organized at this point, but slow development possible by late this weekend into early next week. Everything's kind of moving west-northwest at about 15 to 20 miles per hour. The next storm name on the list would be Francine, and you can see those development odds over the next 7 days at 20%, but we could see that rise or fall depending on how this evolves over the next several days. There's also another tropical wave about to move off the coast of Africa, so signs are pointing to the tropics heating up over the next couple of weeks. We'll definitely keep you updated here in the NBC2 First Alert Hurricane Tracking Center. Right now, it's a nice dry and quiet start, friendly skies over southwest Florida, and that's the way it's going to stay, at least for the first part of the day. But we're going to see another round of rain and thunderstorms. I think we're quiet and dry through the lunch hour today. It's going to be a toasty one with temperatures in the mid-90s, around 93 to 95 degrees. And like yesterday, you can pretty much set your clocks to it here. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. That will be the prime time for rain and thunderstorms. And it's all about location, right? And with an easterly wind, that's going to help to send those storms closer to Charlotte, Lee, and Collier counties. So those are the three counties that will see the best opportunity for rain, and that will really help to cool us off after we end up in the mid-90s. So we'll map out those rain chances hour by hour coming up in your First Alert forecast at 6:15.
All right, thanks, Jason. NBC2 is on top of breaking news right now at 6:02. Right now, we're working to find out what led up to a driver crashing right into someone's home in Cape Coral. You're looking live from that investigation that's happening right now. So this is the scene on Palm Tree Boulevard and Southeast 43rd Terrace. If you're not familiar with this intersection, this is just north of Country Club Boulevard. We know a helicopter was up in the area searching. There was also a K-9 unit in the back of the house. We have crews there working to gather more information from investigators. Count on NBC2 to bring you any new updates that we get throughout the morning. Well, today, this man, Wade Wilson, will learn if he will live the rest of his life in prison or if he will be sentenced to death for the murders the jurors found him guilty of 5 years ago. Now, those victims were 35-year-old Christine Melton and 43-year-old Diane Ruiz. They were brutally murdered by Wilson in Cape Coral. Friends of Diane spoke exclusively with NBC2 anchor Kelly Burns over the summer after Wilson was found guilty.
What's the one thing you want people to know about your friend?
That she worked hard, she loved her family and her friends fiercely. She would have given her the shirt off her back to help someone. And I've seen her do it many times. She truly, deeply cared about people, and I think that's why she was so good at her job. She genuinely put that person out there for everyone to see, and that's why everyone loved her, still loves her.
Now, coming up at 6:30, NBC2's Mercedes Martinez is live from the Lee County Courthouse ahead of Wilson's sentencing, and she's going to explain why he needs to go before a judge before he learns his punishment.
Time right now is 6:04. We are working right now to find out how a man is doing this morning after he was struck by lightning. Happened on Linhart Avenue in Fort Myers, just north of Hanson Street near US 41. Just before 7 o'clock last night, the man says he was actually standing under a mango tree in the backyard of a Fort Myers home when he was hit by lightning. I want you to take a look at this video now of the man being put on a stretcher before eventually being taken away in an ambulance. One of the man's family members spoke with us through a translator about this terrifying moment.
It burned his legs, and his clothes were all burned. The guy who was with me was nervous and couldn't talk. I asked him what happened, and he's like, I don't know.
So right now, we're still working to learn more about the victim and how he's doing. At last check, he's still in the hospital. Thankfully, family members believe he will make a recovery.
And part of the reason lightning is so dangerous is that it can reach incredibly high temperatures, around 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And here in the Sunshine State, we get a lot of lightning. And Central Florida is actually the lightning capital of the country. There's one year actually in Collier County, the Orange Tree was officially the lightning capital. And the National Weather Service reports there have been more than 2,000 lightning-related injuries here over the past 50 years. Now, the best way to stay safe from lightning is planning ahead. Make sure to download the NBC2 News app so you can stay up to speed with anything and everything with your First Alert meteorologists and First Alert storm team, and make a game plan of where you can take shelter. And if you do get caught in a storm, remember the saying, when thunder roars, go indoors. If you can hear the thunder, lightning is close enough to strike. So as I always like to say, when you hear it, clear it. We will see some pretty intense lightning out there today. I'll track that for you as we map out your rain chances and thunderstorm chances coming up in just a few minutes.
Right now, NBC2 is on top of breaking news. We're working to find out what led up to a deadly crash in North Fort Myers.
So here's what we know. We know what happened before 11 last night on Del Prado Boulevard North at Sable Springs Boulevard. That's just east of 41. When our crews first got to the scene, they saw the road closed in both directions, along with a lot of debris in the road. We know both the Lee County Sheriff's Office and Florida Highway Patrol were there investigating. Count on NBC2 to bring you any new information.
More breaking news coming into the NBC2 newsroom. This morning, we have reached out to find out how a bicyclist is doing after they were hospitalized after a crash overnight. It happened on Linhart Avenue and US 41 in Fort Myers before midnight. Our crew on scene says they didn't see the bicyclist wearing a helmet.
And this morning, we have reached out to the Lee County Sheriff's Office to find out who's facing DUI charges. Our NBC2 crew saw someone arrested here along McGregor Boulevard, north of College Parkway in Fort Myers. So this was around 1:30 this morning. Our crews also heard screaming as an LCSO deputy put the person in their patrol vehicle. They also saw damage to a sign. Count on NBC2 to let you know who's facing charges as soon as we find out.
It is 6:07, and this morning we're waiting to hear if citizens will get the green light for a double-digit insurance rate hike, while the state's insurer of last resort continues to add thousands of new policies. Right now, they're up to nearly 1.25 million policies. If the rate hike is approved, there will be a 13.5% increase. People in mobile homes could have to pay 22% more. And if you're a condo owner, your HOA fees could go up 12%. The State Office of Insurance Regulation met on Monday. Count on NBC2 to let you know if any decisions are made.
From your Charlotte County News team, a food truck in Englewood is trying to get back on its feet after getting burglarized. This happened along the Call Road over the weekend. The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office says someone went into the store, destroyed their door, broke their safe, and stole their cash. The owners had to close down the food truck for detectives to investigate, and the food truck had just moved into a permanent building on Friday.
And nobody should have, you know, in the back of their mind, in the back of their head, trying to, you know, watch their back because somebody's going to come and take everything. I think it's just it's injustice for them.
CCSO says whoever did this has not been caught. So if you know anything about it, reach out to the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office.
Today, the man accused of murdering another man at a North Fort Myers arcade is expected in court. Investigators say this man, Courtney Parchman, shot and killed a security guard at Royal Jack's arcade while trying to rob the place. It happened the first week of June. Parchman is currently facing robbery and first-degree murder charges. He's expected in court at 9 this morning. Count on NBC2 to let you know what happens.
Building a memorial to remember the lives lost to Hurricane Ian. We'll tell you what the city of Fort Myers is considering, and why City Council isn't so sure it should go there. Woo!
Plus, tennis and pickleball players, time to grab your rackets and paddles. New courts are opening up when you can take advantage and enjoy the courts.